cannot make it, but would love the information. And thanks everybody who can join today. It's just going to be a little brief welcome and introduction to what Project Aware is and the fundraising journey, and hopefully setting you up for a successful fundraising campaign and running season and connect everybody together. We'll have time, I'm sure, for questions and answers at the end. So I'll just kind of run through my little bit, and we'll go from there. So probably best to mute yourselves until the end, so there's no background noises that might make things cut out and get weird. And then we can all unmute ourselves for any questions later. So thanks everybody for your time and commitment. It is quite a commitment, and I'm always amazed by the people that come through for the cause. So thank you so much. Let me see. Okay. So just a little bit about myself. I'm Lauren Whiskerson, and I'm the development manager at Project Aware. And I have led fundraising for the organization for quite some time. And I've actually worked for Project Aware for 17 years this year. And throughout my time, I've worked through programs and engagement, and then of course, more focused on fundraising these days. And I hope that I can be a good resource for you if you have questions along the way, if you want more information on how to get involved in our work. I'd always love to speak with you and help with whatever I can. So along the way, please never hesitate to respond back to my messages or arrange a phone call. I'm always happy to help. And if you joined right at the beginning, I was chatting with Liz, and she's actually our team captain. And so she has been running the Chicago and New York City Marathon for a number of years back to back. And so she's a great resource for information about the events themselves. She's been running Chicago every year since 2016 and joined us back in 2013 for the New York City Marathon. Over the years, she's not only recruited people and helped raise our team and our funds, but raised over $20,000 herself. So we're so grateful for her energy, enthusiasm, her dedication. She's really inspiring, and we're so glad that she's with us. Over our time this morning or afternoon, depending on where you are, we'll just discuss a little bit about Project Aware, the organization itself. Think about why is fundraising important to you. Just a little bit of detail about the logistics of the marathon on the day over the weekend. Thinking about your strategy for fundraising. Just share some of the social media outlets that you might want to consider connecting to if you're not already, and the support that's available to you, as well as, like I said, having an opportunity to ask some questions. So a bit about Project Aware. We are a nonprofit in a number of countries. We work globally. We're really a movement for ocean protection. And we got started with a philosophy of ocean protection, specifically working with scuba divers back in the late 80s. We're initially more of a philosophy and an ethic to harness divers' potential to advocate to protect the underwater environment. And then we've been an official charity since the early 90s and have evolved into a global nonprofit organization with a dedicated environmental mission and purpose. We have a vision, which is a return to a clean and healthy ocean. And we have two main focus areas. Clean ocean is where we focus, and healthy ocean. Clean ocean is where we work on pollution, plastics, and marine debris. And specifically, we are most well known for our Dive Against Debris program. So divers are taking surveys when they go underwater, not only removing debris when they find it, helping to entangle, to free animals that have become entangled, but then reporting that information so that we can create a picture of what's going on underwater, and then use that data to create policy change to prevent that from being an ongoing crisis. And then within the healthy ocean category, we're focused on overfishing, vulnerable species, and particularly shark and ray work, because we feel like that's somewhere where our audience really feels strongly and where we can make a greater impact for ocean protection. So here's a little diagram of our conservation blueprint. So in order to achieve the vision of a return to a clean and healthy ocean, there's two critical areas that Project Aware is seeking to influence, and that's community and policy. So Project Aware takes both a top-down and a bottom-up approach. So the bottom-up approach is about empowering the community to take action, whether that's getting into the water with their fins, doing a dive against debris survey, reporting the data, or signing a petition or taking a pledge, somehow taking action. And then the top-down approach is taking the data that we're collecting, going directly to policy to affect change on local, national, or international basis. Project Aware believes in the power of people, as large-scale positive transformation starts with each and every one of us acting locally for global impact. Project Aware has an evidence and science-based approach to ocean conservation, focusing on long-term, meaningful change, and strives for sustainable, enduring results. So the expo, I haven't actually received official confirmation of that yet because things are kind of tricky over the past year, but if it falls as usual, I'm sure it will, the weekend of the 8th to 9th of October. And when you go to pick up your bib, which you must do in person over that weekend, the 8th to 9th before the marathon, you must be there with your government issued ID. So if you're international, that would be your passport. If you're US, then you would need a driver's license or similar government issued ID. You will be responsible for your own travel and accommodation arrangements. And I'm pretty sure you'll hear, if you haven't already, from the event organizers. They're usually in touch with their particular vendors that might be able to help you with your accommodations. But also Liz could always make some recommendations based on her experience herself and with runners in the past. So take a moment this morning to think about why fundraising is important to you. What's your motivation to cross that finish line? Why do you want to raise these funds? Often people want to fundraise because it feels really good, especially in a time where we feel like we don't have a lot of control about our current situation in the future. This is a way to take control and take action for what you believe in. It's ideal if you're clear on your why you want to fundraise for this specific cause, so that you can readily convey that to your potential supporters. I know a lot of people can be intimidated about asking people for money. Money can be a really strange topic sometimes, but I think it's important to remember to share your story. So this is an example here. This guy is Scuba Mark, and he's a runner. He's, I think he's generally into physical fitness too, and he's taken on this challenge to not just run marathons, but to run marathons in as full scuba gear as possible, to really highlight what's important to him, why he's passionate about the underwater world and the challenges that our oceans face. Because most people don't see what's going on underwater, and he really wants to share that with his friends, family, general audience to get attention for our cause. And of course, you don't have to go to this extreme. It's just important to know why this cause is close to your heart and take the time to think about how you can share your story with others and gain support. So we'll take a little time to think about strategy. Like, have you thought about a plan? Have you highlighted what's unique about your story in connection with the ocean? I have already sent out some templates, and I'll continue to send things out to kind of help you along with connecting and raising funds. But it is down to you to really personalize any text to appeal out to your supporters and secure their support. And there's a number of ways that you can do that. So here's a strategy that I recommend, is that if you haven't already started to reach out to people, you might want to reach out to those most likely in your close family, close colleagues, and the people that might donate larger sums first. And then that sets the bar high to encourage larger donations from the people that you then ask. And then the people that you think might not donate as much, you might want to wait a little later to ask them, so that once they go to your fundraiser page, they'll see that you've had some good support, and maybe they'll increase their donation a little bit more than they might have otherwise. So be sure that you plan at least a launch message, at least one follow-up to those that may not have responded, and just let them know how your training's going. And then at least a last chance message. Like, this is just bare minimum, 3 messages: launch, something intermediate, and then a last chance. But you can find ways to reach out in between too. I've found ways of, making an announcement, letting people know how it went so far, and then, making it fun and saying, hey, I'm going to do a sweepstakes, and that would get more interaction. So think of different ways that you can reach out, different ways that you can share your journey with people. And of course, you could go the traditional route, an old snail mail letter, and even maybe a return addressed envelope to get people to send checks possibly. And if anyone's interested in running their own sweepstakes, I can share what I have done in the past, and maybe that would help you. So the basic idea is that I reached out and said, hey, this is my first marathon. I have half marathon, I should say. I have no idea how long this is going to take me. So far in my training, I'm up to so many miles per hour average. How long do you think it's going to take me? And then whoever gets the closest guess would win a prize. And I never even announced what the prize would be, but it did encourage people to make a donation, because people love to make bets. So it made it a little bit more fun and helped me exceed my fundraising goals by having an extra little push. But apart from having emails and regular letters go out, social media is a great way of keeping people up to date on your training. You could reach out and ask people for suggestions for new running shoes or other equipment or training that they recommend. And of course, use social media as a way to thank people. So showing that, hey, look, I've got support and I'm really grateful. And that often encourages other people to support you too. And then if those outreach methods aren't getting you the results you were hoping for, then you might want to try and be creative. Something I've personally done in the past was bake pies. People liked my pies. So I would go around and ask people, would you like to buy a pie for this much, and help me raise funds for my big event? But some people will kind of donate their birthday party and ask for donations in lieu of presents. you might be an artist or be crafty in some way and be able to make things to sell. Whatever your talents are, there's probably a way to capitalize on them. So be creative and think about what else you can do beyond the ask if the ask isn't quite getting you where you want to go. Something we've seen grow over the past couple of years is online streaming events. So maybe you're already on YouTube or have an account on Twitch. A lot of people are creating content and growing communities or leveraging those communities, connecting with their audience and getting them to support them. We recently had a fundraiser who had a number of challenges that she hosted over live streaming on Twitch, and she would get people to donate, and then she would dance in a shark costume. And I can't remember one of the other things. She went for a hike in the shark costume. They weren't all shark costume related, but those ones stuck in my mind the most because I love the pictures of dancing sharks and sharks out taking a hike in the mountains. But there's a bunch of different things that you could do. Maybe you're into music or fitness. Try to think of ways to leverage people to join you on your journey and help support you. Excuse me. I'm just gonna grab some water. So this year, you should already be aware that your fundraising platform is now on Haiku. Here's the link here. I created a bit.ly/fund marathon to make it a little bit easier to navigate to if you needed to. And unfortunately, it is all completely new to me. So I'm not an expert when things might not be acting the way they should be. Hopefully they will be acting the way they should be. So far, it seems very simple and straightforward. And hopefully you will find that experience. But keep me posted if things are not working out the way you would like or need, and any comments about its basic functionality, let me know. I don't know that I will have any impact on them making updates in the future, but it doesn't hurt for me to be aware of any limitations or issues so I can share that and they can improve this process for others in the future. But anyway, generally everyone is required, but already has as part of their registration a profile within Haiku. It's already established, and anyone who raised funds in the past, I've already gone in and made those donations offline. And if you receive any checks or cash, you can send that money in and I'll make sure that your fundraising profile is updated accordingly. Just keep me posted. And definitely let's try and keep this as up to date as possible because I am required to provide the marathon organizers regular reports. They like to keep track of how the charity fundraisers are doing so that they can base that on our future marathon runner numbers. So like I said, you can collect cash and checks offline. Any checks should be made payable to Project Aware, and then I'll keep you updated. Anyone who may have already established a fundraiser on Facebook, just keep me posted as well, or if you're raising funds anywhere else, just let me know what you're doing and how I can help and keep everything up to date. But I will warn you, for Facebook, I have had an experience or two where people raise funds through Facebook and their fundraiser link stops working and I'm not able to verify how much they were able to raise through Facebook for whatever reason. So keeping screenshots might be good so that we can definitely keep track if something strange happens there. So everyone has committed to a minimum fundraising amount, and some people are prepared to just simply pay that themselves because they want to run the marathon. But we really do hope that you will raise funds and awareness for our cause, because it most likely is a cause close to your heart as well as mine. And it's important for you to just do your best and reach out and make this a great experience. So I do understand if you're nervous about this and want to have a chat with me, I'm happy to arrange a call or to email you, whatever works for you. I just want you to remember that you're offering people the opportunity to support ocean protection as well as support you as a person. And that creates stronger bonds with you and your friends, your family. And I think most people are happy to support this cause, and it will make them feel good, and possibly you'll inspire others to raise funds and do something similar. And like I mentioned, Liz, she's been a huge inspiration for many of her contacts and was able to recruit people to join her because she obviously makes it look super fun and easy, and other people want a piece of that. I kind of touched on it earlier, but it's important to be grateful and show people that. And this is just a little example of what I've done in the past, where I'll try and get a picture usually of myself and the person that supported me. But usually a good bet is to grab their Facebook profile picture or another profile picture, because you know that's something that they like. And if there's a quote or something that might be relevant to our relationship or they might find inspiring, I try to throw that in there too. So maybe you create a template like this, or just post a photo or give them a shout out somehow. And if you would like logos or anything like that, let me know and I'd be happy to share that so you can personalize it and make it into something that you feel works for you. One more thing is, I know that usually the event organizers run their own contests. So there's things to incentivize you to raise as much funds as you can. And I will try to throw out some gifts to those that are our fundraiser of the month. I have a hard time promising much because it's hard to get into the office and actually ship anything, but I'll do what I can throughout our journey here. But I will be creating a team shirt. And so this, you've already all provided me with your shirt size for within your registration form. So if anyone would like their team shirt to be a different size, just let me know and I can update that when we get to ordering team shirts. And so here are some social media links that you might want to connect with, and be sure to tag any training photos and share your story. You can join the Bank of America Chicago Marathon community by liking the Bank of America Marathon Facebook page. That's facebook.com/Chicago Marathon. And it'd be great if you could follow Project Aware on Instagram and Twitter, and tag us with any of your training stories and photos. And again, maybe that is a great way for you to share your story, inspire your supporters, and get them interested in making donations and cheering you on along the way. And as a team, if you are interested in a team get together in Chicago, maybe the night before for a dinner or a coffee in the morning, let me know what kind of interest is there, and we can work on connecting everybody to do that. And then finally, we have a number of support materials, fundraiser tools on our website. And in addition to that, I'll be sending out bits and pieces here and there to you just to kind of give you inspiration, motivation, just keep chugging away in finding new ways to reach out to people. If you need certain images or logos for promotion, just let me know what you're after and I'll get you those. And if anyone needs help training, you just want to make sure that that happens and let me know if you're needing help in getting set up with a course, because you are limited to 6.5 hours to run the marathon course. So you definitely want to be on top of your training and feel physically fit, mentally ready to do your best and enjoy the day. And so finally, it is time to unmute yourselves and we can have a chat and have some Q&A if anybody has more questions.
Well, I'll just introduce myself as I'm sitting here. My name is Liz, and thank you, Lauren, for introducing me. I just want to say thank you guys so much for jumping on this team and doing this race. I used to be a competitive swimmer, and I'll be honest with you, it's been a long time since I competed, and running a marathon, and especially in times like this when it's really just pretty crap, to be honest, running a marathon, having so many people around you who are all raising money for their own different charities and inspiring people. It's such a really cool feeling. And Chicago is an amazing city to run in. You will see pretty much all of it. If you haven't been there before, it's a relatively flat course, which is pretty cool. So yeah, it's a really good time. If you guys have any questions, you're welcome to reach out to me on Instagram. It's just my name, Liz Parkinson 1 is my Instagram handle. Or if you want my phone number, Lauren has it, and you can just ask her for it and just shoot me a text and say, hey, I'm running Chicago with you, and then just ask away. I respect that this year probably will be slightly different from prior years with regards to sort of the whole social distancing thing. I don't really know. I'm in the UK at the moment, so it's very different here than it is in the US. But I do know several of my friends have competed in races in the US at the moment, and everything seems sort of fairly normal when it comes to sort of race day. And yeah, a hotel accommodation, all that kind of stuff, Airbnb, I think is all up and running. It is in Los Angeles where I live. So I don't think by October, especially with the vaccine coming out, that it's going to be a problem at all. But like I said, please feel free to reach out to me. I've got lots of cool tips and stuff, just because I've done it so many times. The cool thing about Chicago is that you finish and you begin the race in the same park, in the same spot. So it's not like New York where you have to trek to Staten Island like 3.5 hours before the race. And then you finish somewhere down in Manhattan, down in the park somewhere. So it's all relatively close. It's an early start, so you tend to get done earlier, like around lunchtime, which is really nice, unlike New York. Yeah, like I said, it's just a really fun event. So please just feel free to reach out to me. And cool. Yeah, well done, Lauren. Thanks for having me back for another year. I hope it's going to work out this time and not like last year, which sucked. But hey ho, that's how it is.
Yeah, I know for sure. I'm feeling hopeful that the events will go on. As far as I know from the event organizers, they will go on. But I was hopeful right until the ends in 2020. So
I know. It was so close. It was so close.
Hey, Paul.
Hi, Lauren. This is Paul O'Connell. How are you? Yeah, just a quick question on that, actually. I think I saw, it might have been in the New York Times or somewhere recently, an article saying that, Chicago was probably the most likely marathon to go ahead because of what you just said. It starts and finishes at the same time. But it did seem last year like the organizers really held on as long as they possibly could before they canceled it. Do you have any sense yet so far of, what the communication is going to be like this year?
They do seem really on top of things. I think they will do their best and it will go ahead, but it all got a little bit tricky at the end where the things they told me didn't seem to align with the information you guys were getting, and it was very frustrating. There's even a separate offline Facebook group for the coordinators like myself, the charity coordinators, and I would get better information from them, the event organizers sometimes. So we'll do our best and see how it goes this year.
So
Okay.
Paul, I'm meant to do Berlin as well, and Berlin looks like right now, that's in September. It looks like it might be a go for that. They're really pushing for it. And as you probably know from the news, Germany's not so amazing right now. Europe sucks right now with this virus, so they're still pushing for that. And hopefully, with that delay and being in the US, it will go through.
That's great to hear. All right. Well, thanks very much.
Of course. Thank you. Oh, I do see a chat. Hang on.
Hi, guys. Great to meet you.
Hey,
Can you hear me okay?
I can.
Great. What does the transportation look like around the around the marathon in the morning? Like are you taking the L, or are you walking, or and then from your hotel or from your Airbnb? What's that look like?
So Steve, good question. When I've done the race, I've stayed at the W Hotel, which is about a 5-minute walk to the start line from where I've stayed. So that's fairly easy. Transportation never seems like a bad problem because the race starts and is basically the first 6 miles is kind of in the inner city area. All the streets are blocked off. So the trains run really well. You will definitely have like maybe 5 or 6 blocks to walk prior to the start line, because obviously like Ubers and stuff aren't able to get super, super close. But the main road that runs parallel to the park in the forefront of the park is open. So they kind of do like a duck and drop, like they pull in, you jump out, and then they shoo them off. So that's what they did in prior years. Like I said, I've always stayed within walking distance to the start line. So it's never been too much of an issue, but I have had friends that have stayed in Airbnbs a little bit further away, and the trains and everything are not a problem. It's not like New York, if you've ever done that at the end of the race, where it takes you longer to get back to your hotel than it does actually to run the entire marathon. But no, it's for as far as and it's very well organized. They shuttle you in, shuttle you out. Like it's super swift. It's not too bad.
Yeah, great. And then what's do they corral us in the same area, or do you do it by your estimated time, or how do they for our charity entries? How do they start you or us?
Yeah, so good question. So basically, when you filled out the form that Lauren had sent you, you either had a predicted time, which if you've done the race before, they'll use that. If you've run the Chicago Marathon before, you also put in a time. If you're like a 3.5, 4, whatever your time is, they will corral you. So it's alphabetically. A will be like sort of the more professional runners, like the world record holder people, and the people in wheelchairs, like sort of like any major marathon. Those guys will go first, and then they corral you back. So no, Project Aware does not start as a team. You start at your personal entry time, whatever that was put on your form when you signed in.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Yeah.
I just want to clarify. I don't think I ask what people's times are. It was probably when you registered with the event itself, because that information doesn't matter to me. You can go as fast as you want. I'm just happy you're going to do it.
Yeah, there's typically like up to F, like all the the alphabet goes backwards. So obviously the faster runners are like A, B, and C, and then D, E, and F, sort of like 4 hours, and then it goes back. And each group has a different color. So it's like red, yellow, green, blue, green, whatever, and orange. And so when you run the race, you will kind of automatically stay within your color group, like any marathon, which I'm sure you've done before, or any kind of organized race before. It's kind of cool as well. Chicago, on the Saturday morning, there's a 5K run, so just a 3-mile run, which is done the opposite way of the park. So you start the race at the very far end, kind of where the bean is, like past that, and then you finish in the foreground of the park, more down by the museums. So you start and finish on either end of it, which is pretty cool. So there's a lot of space in between, so you don't ever feel super crowded. or anything like that. But the 5K race is the day before on the Saturday, and that goes through the city, but in the opposite direction. And then it finishes kind of where you would finish the race. I've done Chicago several times, but the last year was the first time that I did the 5K. So it was kind of interesting because that will sort of show you how it all ends up, because they finish the race in the same way. So you kind of come over the bridge. There's a little bit of a climb, the bridge, and then it's just flat to the end. But you can always register for that on your own. It's kind of fun. It's only 3 miles, so it's kind of a cool little thing to do.
Great. And I had one last question on team gear or what to wear. Were you actually, I think you mentioned that you were going to send us out like singlets or something like that, or is that something that we or do we screen our own stuff, or tell me to better promote Project Aware? Like, are we wearing a team uniform or?
I will
something
send
like
you
that?
a Project Aware shirt, but you
Okay.
do not have to wear it. I understand that when you're running a marathon, you're going to want something that you are very comfortable in, tried and true. It works for you.
Right.
So if you love the shirt that I send you, great. If you don't, that's fine. Just wear whatever you'd like
Okay.
and keep the shirt as a memento. Or maybe you'll enjoy training in it or whatever.
Great. Thank you.
But it is always
Steve,
nice
one
to
thing-
get pictures of you guys in your shirts. We love using those wherever we can.
But yeah, we post race or pre-race,
Yeah,
or
it could be
actually, pre-race might
anything.
be hard, right? Yeah.
Steve, one thing that I've noticed, not so much in Chicago, but more New York, but definitely Chicago, is that because the race starts relatively early in the morning, around 7:30, what a lot of people do is they wear like a tracksuit or like a top, if you haven't done a race like this before, that you can just take off and throw onto the side of the road as you start. Some people don't know that, and they end up wearing like garbage bags, which are actually really helpful because I've resorted to that in the past. But
Yep.
just bear in mind that on some Chicago runs, it's been amazing. On others, it's been absolutely freezing. And not last year, but 2019, it was torrential downpour rain. So you got really cold. And then they collect all the gear up and then they give it out to the homeless people. So it's kind
That's
of a good cause anyway. But you can get like a turtle shell, like a painter man's outfit for like a guy who paints, or just kind of like a top or a hoodie that you don't want anymore. But just to bear that in mind, that once you go into the crawl, you can't come out of it, and no one can come into you either. So yeah, just to
Good
bear
call.
that in mind.
Good call. Yeah, I've
Yeah,
actually
yeah.
bought space blankets, and also I've done the old socks and made arm warmers out of them.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea.
Mhm.
Sweet. Yeah.
That is a good
I mean,
idea.
like I said, sometimes Chicago's been amazing, and you haven't needed it, but there's definitely been, because you will always stand around for a solid half an hour to 45 minutes while they do the national anthem, and then while all the corrals go, you move forward. Once you start running, it's fine, but just to have that up your sleeve so you can toss something on the side of the road. Yeah.
Okay.
Good questions. Thanks, Steve.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Of course. All right. Well, unless there's anything else, I want to thank you all once again for your amazing dedication and encourage you to stay in touch and let me know how I can help. And look out for this recording and future outreach to help you enjoy your journey.
Yeah, and just one last question is, are you going to set up some sort of group, I don't know, Facebook or whatever, where we can chat with each other or just throw out ideas, or, any universal communications that you use for the team?
Yeah, I have created Facebook groups in the past. They weren't really used so much, but I'm happy
Okay.
to create
Or
it.
just
and,
or email's fine too. Yeah, but yeah.
yeah,
Just
I'll
wondering if you would-
create something, and if people use it, great. If they don't, then,
Okay.
Cool.
All right. Thanks, guys. We'll
Thank
be in
you.
Take
touch.
it easy, guys. It was nice to meet you all.
All right. Nice to
Yeah.
meet you.
Thanks, Lauren.
Thank you.